Good morning, YouTube. I have a question for you. What do you guys think? Is the sports card market in a bubble right now? A bubble? Or are we involved in the middle of a bull run and don't really even realize it? Right now, the football season is kicked off. Things are going quickly right now. We're in week 3 already. Baseball playoffs will be here before we know it. We all have our fingers crossed for our teams. Obviously, basketball will be here before we turn around. And there's been more content. I've read more articles. There's more opinions right now about, is this market in a bubble, or are we in the middle of a bull run that we don't even realize we're in the middle of? So I'm going to share some common sense ideas, a logical way to look at this that I hope you guys will benefit from. It's a mind dump for me, because if we're all going to move forward as collectors and dealers and investors in this market and make the very most of the remainder of 2025, one of the first questions we have to answer, obviously, for ourselves personally, are we in a bull market or is this a bubble? And hopefully I can share some ideas that will make you think a little bit, make me think a little bit. And as always, your feedback will be appreciated, your insights, because there's a lot of people that know a whole lot more about what's going on than I do. But I hope you get value from this. Let's get into it. In the last 30 days, I've read so many articles. I've seen so much content on this one subject, is, are we in a bubble? And it's really been kind of mind blowing to me. And it's like, what are people talking about? I don't understand. So I'm just going to share a perspective from maybe a different point of view that I hope will resonate with some people. I understand that most people, the majority of people make emotional decisions. And then they tend to try to justify those decisions by finding facts to justify the emotional decisions that they make or the emotional decisions that they say. I understand that's one, there's a lot of people out there that operate in this world, not just in the sports card world, but in every aspect of life. Their emotions yank them around every day. I also understand there's another group of people that live by Murphy's Law. And if you haven't heard Murphy's Law, of course, it's nothing as easy as it looks. Everything takes longer than you expect. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong at the worst possible moment. A lot of people in the population spend their life with a glass half empty mentality. They have a negative slant. Everything's after me. If something can go bad for me, it will at the worst possible time, and so on and so forth. Murphy's Law is real. You can look at friends, relatives, people around you, neighbors. We all know people that live every day of their life making bad emotional decisions and then try to find facts to justify those bad decisions or try to get people on their side when we all know they made a bad emotional decision. We also know people that live every day of their life in the state of Murphy's Law. Now, there's another group of, I think, intelligent people, people that tend to look at facts, that were here during COVID. And I was not here during COVID. I've read a lot about it. I've heard a lot about it. Yes, we had a little small eBay store with 100 sports cards probably listed. And during COVID, I didn't really put it together. But yeah, we sold Kobe rookie and some other cards from that site during that time. I really didn't put it together till after the fact. We just add a few cards. It was nothing we ever paid any attention to at that time before we really got back into this, because my wife and I have other e-commerce businesses that we operate. So those of you that lived through COVID, it was quite an experience from everything that I've heard. And when you look at the charts, and you see what happened during COVID and how everything went straight up, and anything that you bought, from what I've heard on eBay, by the time you got it and got it relisted, sometime that card had doubled or tripled. And I can kind of relate, because at that time I had made the decision personally to spend all my self-education time and to finally, once and for all, get myself as educated as possible on the crypto market. So I was in the crypto market at that time, still am. But evidently, baseball cards, from everything that I heard, it was just crazy times during COVID. And I really believe that some people have become COVID gun shy. They really have, because of COVID. They're gun shy about what's happening right now in the market. Now, that might be reality, it may not be. And each one of us have to look at the facts for ourselves based upon our goals. But again, how do you want to end the year? And I think knowing and settling in your own heart and mind, yes, we're in a bull run. No, we're in a bear market right now. The market's in the sports car market is in a bubble, is something that we all have to come to grips with. And we need to not ignore it if we want to profit as much as we possibly can, this last half of 2025. So my common sense conclusion is, I know generally people make emotional decisions. They try to find facts to back up those decisions, to support those emotional decisions that they made. I know that. I know some people spend life always seeing the glass half empty. It's kind of an emotional protective mechanism. I mean, you hear people talk about it all the time. I don't want to buy that player on my team that I follow, because if I do, as soon as I buy the card, they're going to get hurt. There's going to be an injury. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. There's people that live in that world every day with every decision that they make. And then I understand there's a lot of very intelligent, smart people that, in my opinion, again, from the outside looking in, lived through the COVID bubble, and they're in a state of what I would call COVID bubble fear, or COVID bubble unknown, maybe is a better way to put it. I'm going to give you 10 reasons why I think you should consider that we actually are in a sports card bull run, and we should be enjoying this to the very best of our ability and making as many intelligent moves as we possibly can right now while this lasts. And I personally think it could be ongoing. I mean, I think it could last at least another couple years, and it could just be an ongoing upward trend for many years. It could be, for some of the reasons I'm going to share. 10 reasons real quick. Number one, during the COVID time, a lot of that was created by stimulus spending. Right now, what I believe we're seeing is organic demand. Organic demand, stimulus spending. The COVID bubble was fueled by government stimulus checks and lockdown money. And today, what I see is driven by real disposable income. The number of people that were involved in sports cards in the 80s and the early 90s that are now coming back, that I meet at every show we do, is unbelievable. The number of people that are coming back into the sports card hobby. And it's driven by investment demand and a lot of international buyers, thanks Otani. And it's not all coming from temporary free cash. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing I would ask you to consider. Number two, there's a more mature investor mindset. During the COVID bubble, from everything I saw, read, heard, there was many participants who were flipping and gamblers chasing quick profits. Not to say that doesn't exist today, because it absolutely does. But also, I think there's a much stronger emphasis on long-term investing, looking at the data, looking at the pop reports, and focusing on the GOAT players, the blue chip players, the iconic players, the best players for their teams, for their sport during their era. You're seeing more talk about that. Number three, from a sustainable, collectible culture standpoint, a lot of people that came to sports cards during COVID, from everything I've seen and heard, a lot of them were what I would call tourists. And they came in and they toured around and they left once the prices cooled down. I saw this happen in the crypto market as well. There were just a lot of tourists. And today the community overall, I think, is much stronger than I've ever seen it. There's more card shows. There's fabulous content creators on YouTube. There's phenomenal podcasts. People are getting more graded, more educated on grading. A lot of people that were dead against grading in the past are starting to understand that when you grade the right card, you automatically add value to your what you paid for that card. It's an automatic way to bump up the price of a card. You're seeing a lot more global collectors. You're seeing collectors in Asia and Europe and South America. that were very active participants in the sports card market, especially in the soccer market, basketball. We saw the explosion of Formula One. Number 4, it was a repeat, sorry. Number 5, industry infrastructure. This is real important. During the COVID bubble, marketplaces, grading companies, auction houses weren't ready for what happened. And the backlogs that happened, and it was just mass chaos. And a lot of people got burnt out from that because the marketplace wasn't ready. Today, PSA, BGS, SGC, and many others, grading companies, many others, some alternative graders as I call them, have expanded their capacity. You're seeing fractional ownership platforms, live selling apps, whatnot. Fanatics Live makes the whole buying process much smoother. So that's the 5th reason. Next reason, scarcity over supply glut. During the COVID bubble, anything went up in value, even base cards, from everything that I heard. It was just going crazy. Everybody talks about I was going to say LeBron James, the dude on Duke, the basketball player. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It was going crazy. Today, there's really is a focus on rarity, serial numbered parallels, autographs, RPAs, and vintage cards with low pops. You're hearing that all the time now, even more today than we were a year ago. So there is a different focus. It's not anything you buy is going to go up. So just buy it. That's not what is going on. Of course, I was trying to remember Zion. Number 7, integration with Fanatics ecosystem. This is probably the most important thing. Like it or don't like it, accept it or don't accept it. This is critically important. During the COVID bubble, Fanatics wasn't even here yet. Think about that. During the COVID bubble, Fanatics wasn't even involved in the hobby yet. And today, we all know Fanatics controls tops and is investing heavily in marketing for the hobby. For themselves, yes, but for the hobby, investing heavily in distribution and partnerships to grow this hobby over the long term. You cannot ignore that. You just can't ignore that. When it was first announced, we did this video on our channel. Some of you saw it. And yes, we used AI, but I write the scripts. If you see an AI generated video on this channel, the script was written by me. Sometimes things are so important that I'm trying to communicate that I know I can go down rabbit holes and I can get off track. And I know some people don't like my Southern accent, but sometimes I think things are so important that the message needs to get out there. And for me to dump my brain, if nothing else, that I will use AI sometimes because the voice is much more pleasant and the message is that important sometimes. I almost used AI with this, honestly, with what I'm sharing now. But again, I'm going down a rabbit trail. But we have to understand the importance of Fanatics, ladies and gentlemen, and what they've done. We really do. Like them, not like them. Some people don't like them because they've got a lot of money. Some people don't like any companies with a lot of money. I understand that it's the glass half empty, half full rule, but we have to understand what Fanatics is doing. And again, some people just can't stand Fanatics. It has nothing to do with what they're doing for the hobby and the value that they're providing to the market that we're all involved in. It's just they've never liked big companies and they never will. But success leaves clues. So I'm going to get into Fanatics a little bit, but let's go beyond Fanatics. Let's look at some other things we need to be aware of. This kind of should blow all of our mind. This should blow your mind if you're in this market. You can go to Best Buy right now and buy an Ultra Pro official PSA grading and submission kit at Best Buy. Let that sink in. Joe Blow can go out here and buy a PSA grading kit for $100 at Best Buy and get $100 in credits towards their first submission. How many people that have their granddad's cards in the basement and see this at Best Buy are going to buy this kit knowing they get $100 credit towards their grading fees? This is huge. This is huge. Success leaves clues. So let's look at Fanatics real quick. I've got a couple of things I want to share with you that we just got to understand. Integrated e-commerce system. Fanatics integrated Topps cards directly into their huge Fanatics online platform, enhancing fan collections and providing on their platform the latest products such as Topps trading cards. This gives card access to 100 million registered Fanatic customers. So when they go on and they're looking for their Cincinnati Reds jersey, then a Barry Larkin or Eric Davis or Ellie De La Cruz Topps card may be in that mix. And if you've been on Fanatics website, we've all seen that. So that's going to bring people into the hobby. Maybe grandma was on the site to buy Johnny a Reds jersey, and oh, Johnny talks about Ellie De La Cruz all the time. Here's an Ellie De La Cruz card. Let me add that and put that in his birthday package with his jersey. And Johnny maybe was not into cards that much, and now Johnny gets into cards. Or Johnny could be 42 years old. It doesn't have to be 7-year-old Johnny. The fact that they immediately gave access to 100 million registered customers, guys, we have to see the significance of that. This is something that has nothing to do with, well, I guess it does. We were at the Reds game last weekend. They got killed, by the way, 11-3. But we're sitting there, and this is Truist Park. This is the main board right in the middle of center field where they have all the announcements prior to the game and promotions of upcoming games and so on and so forth. And this pops up. It's right in queue, right in sequence at Truist Park here in Atlanta. And I snapped a quick picture of it where they're promoting collect trading cards of your favorite Braves players. You scan the QR code and it takes you right to Topps website. Guys, Topps wasn't doing this kind of stuff ever, anything close to it prior to Fanatics. When they said they're going to 10 times this market, I believe they believe it, and I believe they are taking action that ultimately is helping all of us. We're all seeing pre-roll ads on YouTube like we never have before. Topps never did any type of pre-roll ads on YouTube prior to sports card content or sports content. Now it's common. We all see it. Are we ignoring it? Are we understanding what's really happening and what Fanatics is doing? Let's look at a couple of other things. MLB debut patch, the partnership they have with MLB. And you all guys, everybody knows what I'm talking about here, but if you don't, if you've been living under a rock, for the 2023 card season, Fanatics introduced an exciting new concept called Major League Debut Patches. This revolutionary move marks the first ever partnership between a trading card company and a professional sports league. Every new player who makes their debut in 2023 and beyond get a special patch. This creates immediate scarcity and collector interest around rookie debuts. Sal Stewart just came up for the Reds a couple of weeks ago. I saw his Major League debut patch on his uniform when he came up. It's just, in my opinion, this is the grail card of your PC. This is one of the coolest, most innovative ideas, probably the most innovative idea to ever hit the sports card market, in my opinion. It's bringing attention every day, especially this time of the year as more and more kids are coming up from the minors. Guys, they're going to 10X this hobby. They're doing everything they can. We all heard the Paul Skeens story. We all know about the young man in California who was affected by the fires and pulled this card at a shop in California. We all know that. And probably many of you like me, whoever your favorite player is, whoever you're following, their MLB debut patch is your grail. It is the holy grail for you personally, probably, like it is me. I would think a lot of people think like I do regarding this card and their favorite player. And we'll all be reminded of that every single year when the new debut patches hit the market. It's just genius as far as I'm concerned for the idea of a card. Fanatics Rip Nights. This was really cool. We all heard about these. they're paying for some top athletes to come to different shops all over the country, create a very unique fan experience, drew a lot of people probably that were kind of on the way out of the hobby back into the hobby. There's no question that happens. They're just smart in what they're doing, how they're doing it, and they're very strategic. And it's just, there's no way that, I think the hobby has grown more because of Fanatics and the marketing methods that they're using than we give them credit for. And I think it's going to continue. I think there's going to be new, unique ideas to keep the hobby moving forward. I really, really do. Just based on everything that I'm seeing, and it's just going to continue. I see no end in sight based upon their track record. And again, anybody can talk the talk, but actions always speak louder than words. So when you step back and you look at, like they just announced recently, Topps Collectors Appreciation Day. It's happening on September 20th. It's called Topps Collector Appreciation Day. It honors the passion of collectors and their dedication to the hobby. This is an annual event that celebrates Topps Collector Appreciation Day on September 20th, 2025. Will be the first one. And it happens at various major league games and national retailers for card collectors like Dick's Sporting Goods and other big retailers. And basically what I've heard is you take in a card, any Topps card, and you get like a special collector's package, which can be different things. Some people say, well, it might be a certificate where you can go to Fanatics and get a jersey of your favorite player. And I've heard a lot of different things, and I'm sure this will evolve over the years. But this is a great idea. I promise you, if our stadium here, if Truist Park was one of those stadiums, I would be there. Now, they are doing this in Cincinnati. I wish I was home. I'm not, but they're doing it at different ballparks. I will be there for Topps Collector Appreciation Day if and when it happens in Atlanta. I may go try to check out our local Dick's Sporting Goods because I heard Dick's is participating in other retailers, but I have to learn a little bit more about it. But it's a great idea. It's innovative, and that's what they're doing. Fanatics Fest, we all heard about that. It's not the national, but it's bringing sports fans and exposing them to the sports card market. In one of the videos I did here on YouTube, I talked about, I think it's in our monthly dividend training that we shared on how we create monthly dividends with sports cards here on this channel. And I talked about how the 1986 Topps Don Mattingly, every month this month or this year, we've sold 3 to 5 of that card, 3 to 5 of that card, 3 to 5 of that card. The month of Fanatics happening in New York, we sold 13. And I thought at the time, and people gave me grief about this, but my initial thought at the time was, why did we all of a sudden jump? We sell 3 to 5 of that card every month, but why did we sell 13? And they all went to people in the New York area, New Jersey, New York. A lot of them were being sent to people in that part of the country. And my thought was, I bet these people went to Fanatics. Maybe they decided they're going to get back in cards. Don Mattingly is probably one of the most modern day, if you want to call it modern day, some people call it vintage, but one of the most popular players in New York Yankees history in the last 40 years. And all of a sudden, after Fanatics, we went from selling 3 to 5 every month, we sold 13. And I expressed this, and people thought I was an idiot, and there's no way that's why it's happening, and you're crazy, and it does not indicate a trend just because you sold more Mattingly's and blah, blah, blah. I got a lot of grief about it, which I addressed. But ever since that time, every month, we've sold 10 plus. So we went from 3 to 5 every month prior to Fanatics. After Fanatics, we've sold 10 plus of that particular card every month since. I don't know. But I do believe that this event will increase demand and will tap into a broader audience for the sports card market. So Fanatics Fest. And I really think that if you look at their track record and look at what they're doing, not what they're saying, but what they're doing, that Fanatics' approach absolutely demonstrates their commitment to 10xing this market through technology integration, market expansion, legitimizing the entire market with partnerships like many high-end auction houses, the debut patch and league partnerships. I think the debut patch is the most ingenious idea for a card in the history of sports cards. And then they're able to leverage, as I mentioned earlier, 100 million customers that they already had before they bought Topps. It just makes too much sense. So the bottom line for me, when I look at bubble, bear market, to me, when I just stand back and try to look at the facts, it's pretty obvious. I mean, the global sports and memorabilia and trading card market is set for explosive growth. Many people project that it's going to go to 33 billion in 2024, and it's projected to grow to 271 billion by 2034. That's what, 8x growth or so in 10 years. Could it go to 10x? I think it could. And there's multiple independent research firms that are talking about the expected growth of this market. Nobody's talking about a bubble. You look at the founders of M13 have gained a reputation as successful tech investors. Now they're launching a fund dedicated to trading cards. Mint 10 is also buying a mix of different cards. You're seeing this. A lot of funds are getting into trading cards. Professional investment funds and hedge funds are now treating sports cards as a legitimate asset class, bringing institutional credibility and capital to this market. So it doesn't matter if some blowhard professor says it's not this, it's not that. We're way too early. This is not a legitimate asset class, blah, blah, blah. Some people have all the answers and no cards. Some people have all the answers and no money. And some people just see the glass half full. Some people see the glass half empty in life every day or around everything that they do. So you have to be aware of who are you listening to and why, and then sit back and look at what's happening, look at the facts for yourself and make your own decision. The market is driven by growing demand for acquiring sports trading cards online, the growing popularity of sports leagues, unfortunately, the legalization of online gambling that's everywhere now. I think about Pete Rose. It's just sad. And now you've got everybody and their brother promoting different avenues to gamble. Multiple growth in all these areas ultimately create more stable foundation for the bull to run. And it's not COVID speculation. And really seeing that and understanding that and getting that from your head to your heart so you can take advantage of the last quarter of this year, I think is important for a lot of people. Unlike previous collecting booms driven by a single demographic, the current market spans multiple generations: millennials with disposable income, Gen X, nostalgia buyers, Gen Z, and on and on. The broad base provides stability because there's so many people. You go to shows today, you see, back when we were doing shows in the early 90s, my brother and I, we had our card shop and we were doing shows back then. It was parents coming, dropping off their kids, and it was all kids. Today, there's a lot of speculators, there's a lot of investors. There's a great deal. The number of those kids that were coming to our shop in the late 80s, early 90s that are now adults with disposable income that are grabbing their cards out of their mom's basement and getting back into the hobby is overwhelming. It just is. So there's a broad base, tens of thousands of junk wax collectors are re-entering the market. And I've seen this firsthand at the shows we've done this year that Don and I have done, just in the Georgia market primarily. But the number of people that I've met awesome people that are trying to figure this out, like I was, a couple years ago. And I tell them, look, I understand. I've been there. It's like you're trying to learn Chinese. There's a lot more going on today than there was, back in the day of Topstoners and Fleer. So they're coming, and I see it firsthand. Alternative investment recognition. Again, it doesn't matter who sees it, who believes it, who understands it, who agrees. It's happening no matter what our opinion is about it. Sports cars today are increasingly being viewed as legitimate alternative investments, just like art, wine, and collectibles, and in my mind, cryptocurrency. Again, Bitcoin's here, it's here to stay. People talk about how volatile it is. Look at the track record over 10 years. The facts are right there in front of us. And again, I could really go down a rabbit trail here. I won't. But to say this is not an asset class or not viewed in the same light as art and wine and other collectibles is just somebody spewing their own opinion that's not based on facts. It's just based on their personal emotions. The facts speak for themselves. So this recognition by financial advisors and wealth management firms is going to continue to bring new capital sources into this market daily and just help continue the growth of this current bull run. In my opinion, it's obviously a bull run. So your feedback, ideas, comments, and thoughts and suggestions are always appreciated. I love to hear from you guys. I understand that the high end, why people think the very tip top of the market is a bubble, how they could logically think that. I understand that. But the truth is, and think about this, everybody's talking about the 12.3 or $12.9 million sale, Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, the LeBron Kobe card. We've all heard about it and how it set a new record. And that type of record will never be set. It'll be a long time before that's ever set again, and blah, blah, blah. And the top end is just a bubble. The truth is, multiple cards are setting new records every time they become available. Most people are hanging on to those type of cards. They're not even going to be available. What would happen to that record if one of the 4 PSA 10 Mano cards became available? What would happen to that $12 million record if one of those Manos, a PSA 10 Mano, became available on the open market? In my opinion, there's no way it wouldn't at least double that record. I mean, I think we're probably looking at closer to $40 to $50 million if one of those Manos became available. And we're seeing this happen every single month, new records being set for high-end cards. It's freaking people out. But most of the people on YouTube, most of the people watching this, we don't really have to even be concerned too much about that end of the market. I mean, what's your thought process? How aggressive are you being right now in your collecting, in your investing? If you're a dealer, what are you buying and why? And if you have concerns, oh, this is going to crash, this is a bubble, that's just based upon what are those thoughts based upon? What do the facts say? And if the facts are true, then what should we be doing to maximizing the collections in our businesses the last quarter of this year? That was really the purpose of this video. I hope it's created thought. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe. More importantly, let us know your thoughts. And we'll talk to you on the next video. Y'all have a good one. Go Reds. We need a miracle. See you guys.